Burning Bright by Tracy Chevalier. Read by Emilia Fox. March 1792. There was something humiliating about waiting in a cart on a busy London street with all your possessions stacked around you on show to the curious public. Jem Kellaway sat by a tower of Windsor chairs his father had made for the family and watched aghast as passers-by openly inspected the cart's contents. He was not used to seeing so many strangers at once. The appearance of one in their Dorsetshire village would be an event discussed for days after. He hunkered back, trying to make himself less conspicuous. A wiry boy with a narrow face, deep-set blue eyes and sandy fair hair, Jem was not one to draw attention to himself. Apart from the chairs, much of the cart was filled with the tools of Jem's father's trade, wooden hoops used to bend wood for the arms and backs of the Windsor chairs he specialised in, a dismantled lathe for turning chair legs, and a selection of saws, axes, chisels and augers. Indeed, Thomas Kellaway's tools took up so much room that the Kellaways had to take turns walking alongside the cart for the week it took to get from Piddletrent to London. The cart they had travelled in, driven by Mr. Smart, a local Piddle Valley man with an unexpected sense of adventure, was halted in front of Astley's amphitheatre. Thomas Kellaway had had only a vague notion of where to find Philip Astley and no idea of how big London really was, thinking he could stand in the middle of it and see the amphitheatre where Astley's circus performed, the way he might back in Dorchester. Luckily for them, Astley's circus was well known, and they were quickly directed to the large building at the end of Westminster Bridge, with its round, peaked wooden roof and front entrance adorned with 4 columns. An enormous white flag flying from the top of the roof read Astley's in red on one side and Amphitheatre in black on the other. Ignoring the curious people, Jem fixed his eyes on the nearby river, which Mr. Smart had decided to wander along, to see a bit of London, and on Westminster Bridge, which arched over the water and pitched into the distant mass of square towers and spires of Westminster Abbey. None of the rivers Jem knew in Dorset, the Froom the size of a country lane, the Piddle a mere rivulet he could easily jump across, bore any resemblance to the Thames, a broad channel of rocking, choppy green-brown water pulled back and forth by the distant tide of the sea. Both river and bridge were clogged with traffic, boats on the Thames, carriages, carts and pedestrians on the bridge. Jem had never seen so many people, even on market day in Dorchester. Though tempted to get down and join Mr. Smart at the water's edge, he didn't dare leave Maisie and his mother. Maisie Kellaway was gazing about in bewilderment and flapping a handkerchief. "Lord, it's hot for March," she said. "It weren't this hot back home, were it, Jem?" "It'll be cooler tomorrow," Jem promised. Although Maisie was 2 years older than he, it often seemed to Jem that she was his younger sister, needing protection from the unpredictability of the world, though there was little of that in the Piddle Valley. His job would be harder here. Anne Kellaway was watching the river as Jem had, her eyes fixed on a boy pulling hard on the oars of a rowboat. A dog sat opposite him, panting in the heat. Jem knew what his mother was thinking of as she followed the boy's progress. His brother Tommy, who had loved dogs and always had at least one from the village following him about. Tommy Kellaway had been a handsome boy with a tendency to daydream. It was clear early on that he would never be a chairmaker, for he had no affinity for wood. Despite this essential uselessness, his mother loved him more than her other children. Perhaps she felt he was more helpless and so needed her more. Certainly he made her laugh as no one else could. But her laughter had died.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?